Welcome. Tonight, we gently step back in time to ancient Egypt, a world where sleep and dreams carried deep meaning, and the night unfolded as a sacred journey. Together, we will discover the calming rituals, protective beliefs, and timeless wisdom that helped the ancients embrace rest and renewal under starry skies. Now let us journey into the quiet beauty of their nights. Sleep in ancient Egypt was an experience of profound significance, blending comfort with spirituality. For the royal family and the elite, beds were not mere pieces of furniture. They were crafted with reverence, skill, and deep symbolism. Picture a grand chamber illuminated by the soft light of oil lamps, casting dancing shadows on walls painted with scenes of gods and pharaohs. At the center rests a majestic bed, its frame carved meticulously from ebony or cedar wood, materials prized for their strength and beauty. The legs of the bed might be shaped like lions or bulls, fierce guardians guarding their owner, even in the realm of dreams. These animals were not chosen randomly. They symbolized power, protection, and regeneration. Lions, for example, were linked to the idea of resurrection and endurance, giving the sleeper a sense of invincibility in the darkness. The bed itself is raised several feet above the floor, held off the ground by sturdy yet graceful legs. This elevation kept the sleeper away from the cool, damp earth, distancing them from crawling insects and snakes that might wander at night. The bed's surface was a woven lattice of leather strips or flax ropes, taut and flexible, creating a springy yet supportive base. Upon this lay mattresses filled with feathers, wool, or even dried reeds, soft, soothing materials that cushioned the body and invited rest. The bed was not flat. It sloped gently upward at the head. This incline was deeply purposeful, thought to assist the ka, or life spirit, in leaving the body more freely during sleep, allowing the soul's movements in dreams to be unhindered. The headrest, something like a small wooden pillow carved into a smooth curve, supported the sleeper's head. Far from modern pillows, these were rigid objects designed to cradle the neck and keep the head elevated. Crafted from wood, ivory, or beautifully polished stone, these headrests helped protect elaborate hairstyles, which men and women alike wore with pride. Twisted curls, braids, and plaits painstakingly styled and adorned with beads or gold. But more than mere practicality, the headrest symbolized cosmic rebirth. Its shape echoed the Egyptian hieroglyph for the horizon, where the sun rises and begins anew each day. To sleep resting the head on such a support was to participate in the eternal cycle of death and renewal, a daily reaffirmation that life conquers darkness. For the majority of Egyptians, however, nights were simpler. The common people, farmers, laborers, craftsmen, did not have the luxury of raised, ornate beds. Instead, they slept where they could find comfort, often on mats woven from papyrus or reeds. These mats were placed on the hard, sun-baked earthen floors of their modest mud brick homes. Such homes typically had one or two small rooms with very few furnishings, so the function of these mats was essential. They served as bedding by night and seating by day. At times when the desert's heat became unbearable, families would retreat to their flat rooftops, which offered relief through gentle breezes sweeping over the village. Under the vast, starlit Egyptian sky, wrapped in simple linens, the cool night air caressed their skin. Sometimes low mud brick walls surrounded these open-air bedrooms, offering safety and shelter, while still allowing the night's natural lullaby to carry them to sleep. Despite the apparent difference in comfort, even these humble settings had their own forms of ritual and respect, a quiet acknowledgement of the sacredness of rest. In ancient Egyptian homes, nightfall heralded more than darkness. It marked a sacred time for ritual, reflection, and protection. As the sun disappeared beyond the western horizon, families softly prepared for rest through humble but meaningful ceremonies. Illumination was provided by small oil lamps, made from humble clay or stone, filled with sesame oil. The wick, whether woven from reed or wool, burned steadily, casting a gentle golden glow that flickered across the walls with hypnotic grace. The light was low, carefully controlled to soothe the eyes and calm the mind, never harsh or disruptive. Before lying down, it was customary to offer quiet prayers or blessings to household deities. These prayers were soft invocations, expressing gratitude for the day's bounty, seeking the god's protection through the long night, or asking for a peaceful sleep free of nightmares. The aroma of burnt incense or resin from earlier ceremonies still lingered, a fragrant cloak that wrapped around the household like an invisible shield. Every home held amulets and charms, tangible embodiments of the divine that promised safety. The Wedjat eye, or Eye of Horus, was perhaps the most revered symbol, believed to ward off evil and heal the body and spirit. Scarabs, representing the sun's eternal cycle and the god Ra, were worn or placed nearby to invoke daily rebirth in the sleeper's own spirit. Bes and Taweret, two powerful protective figures, played central roles in these nightly rituals. Bes, though grotesque in appearance, a dwarf with leonine features, an unsettling gleam in his eyes, and a protruding tongue, was revered as a fierce guardian who scared away harmful spirits. His image adorned household furniture. One might find his carved likeness on the legs of a bed or on a headrest, silently watching over the sleeper, ensuring that evil could not approach. Mothers would carefully trace Bess's figure on a child's hand, wrapping it with cloth blessed by temple priests. This personal protection ensured that sleep brought calm, healing dreams rather than torment. Bess's connection to music and dance added to his protective powers, with household celebrations often invoking his joyful spirit to dispel darkness inside and out. Taweret, by contrast, was a nurturing presence, a goddess formed from the merging of the hippopotamus, lion, and crocodile, the fierce protectors of their young. She embodied maternal strength and safety. Her image was common in bedrooms and carried in amulets. Young women and mothers prayed to Taweret, not only for protection during sleep, but for success in childbirth and the health of their children. Though she had no grand temples or priests, Taweret was worshipped intimately in private homes, where her formidable image warded off the unseen dangers lurking in the shadows. These protective rituals, simple yet profound, formed an invisible web around the household. They transformed the vulnerable hours of night into a sacred space of safety, weaving magic, faith, and comfort together. To the Egyptians, dreams were portals, delicate, translucent threads connecting the mortal world to the divine and the afterlife. Dreams were laden with meaning, carefully interpreted signs from gods and ancestors guiding the living. Imagine a young prince, restless with worry, closing his eyes not in selfish longing, but in hope. In the shadowed stillness, the Sphinx of Giza whispers in a dream, promising royal power if the prince will clear the sand covering it. This dream, so real and vivid, becomes prophecy. Obeying this call, the prince rises to his destiny as Pharaoh Thutmose IV, erecting the famous dream stele to commemorate divine guidance. Such stories illustrate the sacredness of dreams and their power to shape history. Dreams were classified into three principal types by the Egyptians. Some dreams called for specific acts of piety. messages from gods requiring sacrifices or temple offerings, essential acts to maintain balance or favor. Others were warnings, prophetic visions, foretelling illness, danger, or fortune. And some dreams were deliberately sought through rituals, a practice known as dream incubation, a sacred art of sleep designed to invite the gods to speak. Temples dedicated to sleep and dreams provided quiet sanctuaries for those seeking answers, healing, or divine counsel. Pilgrims journeyed there after fasting and purification, entering small chambers where they hoped to receive sacred visions. These incubation chambers were places of faith and hope, where one might fall asleep embraced by prayers, incense, and the presence of protective gods like Bez and Tawarer. Dreams were systematically recorded and interpreted, as the Chester Beatty Dream Book reveals. A man dreaming of walking through a field of barley might expect prosperity. Seeing a large cat was regarded as a favorable omen related to the goddess Bastet. A nightmare in which teeth fell out was considered ominous, predicting death or loss. Every symbol had its resonance, every vision a meaning waiting to unfold in waking life. Dreams held not only spiritual import, but also social and ethical weight, reminding Egyptians to live in harmony with Ma'at, the divine order maintaining balance in cosmos and community. Night held a dual nature, both frightening and sacred. It was the realm of darkness, associated with death and the mysterious underworld, yet also the stage for cosmic rebirth. The Egyptians believed the universe was divided into three realms: the sky with its gods and stars, the earth, home of humans, and the underworld, a great kingdom of darkness, where souls traveled and transformation occurred. Night was when the sun, God Ra, made his perilous journey through this shadowed realm, fighting the serpent Apophis, the embodiment of chaos. This eternal battle ensured the sun would rise again each dawn, renewing life and order. Human prayers and rituals were part of this cosmic drama, supporting Ra in his nightly fight. The ordinary Egyptian, though distant from these epic struggles, participated through nightly invocations and protective magic. Yet night was also a time of vulnerability. Evil spirits and demons roamed freely, tormenting the sleeping. Egyptians described nightmares as spiritual assaults, a weight or force pressing down on the sleeper, stealing strength or bringing disease. These spectral attackers could inhabit parts of the body, causing physical and mental suffering. The invisible battle between good and evil unfolded in every household. Spells and amulets served as weapons to repel these dark forces. Families hung images of Bes and Tawaret, decorated beds and doorways, and recited protective prayers to create sanctuaries of safety within their homes. Life in ancient Egypt moved in harmony with the sun, its rising and setting, creating a natural rhythm that shaped every moment: work, rest, and especially sleep. For most Egyptians, particularly those living outside the royal courts, the day began early. As the rosy fingers of dawn stretched across the desert sky, farmers, artisans, and laborers stirred awake alongside the gentle sounds of birdsong and the faint rustling of palm leaves. Rising with the light was essential, not just a habit, but a necessity for survival in a land where the sun ruled fiercely. The cool morning air carried a sense of quiet urgency as communities gathered to begin the day's tasks. Agricultural life thrived on cooperation. Peasants often worked side by side in the fields, their hands sowing grain or tending cattle. This collective effort extended beyond mere practicality. It was a source of warmth against the morning chill, and just as profoundly, a social moment. Villagers exchanged stories, laughter, and news, sharing the unfolding story of their lives while moving rhythmically to the labor of the land. As the sun climbed higher, many sought shade to avoid the harsh midday heat under date palms or in simple mud brick houses. Work paused during the hottest hours, a time to rest and recharge before afternoon tasks resumed. The rhythm of life followed the sun's movements as naturally as the Nile flows through Egypt's heart. Nighttime rest was equally attuned to natural cycles, but it was rarely one long, uninterrupted sleep as we think of it today. Instead, Egyptians experienced what modern scholars call segmented sleep. After an initial sleep lasting several hours, a time often called first sleep, people typically awoke for a period of quiet activity. In this calm interlude, they might share stories by the fire, complete household chores, or tend to the animals. This night, waking was not seen as insomnia, but as part of a peaceful, structured rest. Families might gather in the soft glow of oil lamps. The flames flicker, casting moving shadows on earthen walls decorated with simple paintings or woven textiles. This was a gentle time for reflection, for checking on loved ones, and for partaking in the sacred stillness the night offered. In the warmth of summer months, the cool shelter of a rooftop became a favorite place for sleep. Flat roofs, often constructed from thick layers of mud and straw, were spread with reed mats and thin linens, where families could lie side by side beneath the vast canopy of stars. The desert breeze, carrying the subtle scent of flowering acacia or fresh Nile water, swept softly over these open-air bedrooms, bringing the sweet gifts of night with it. Low mud brick walls sometimes surrounded these rooftops, providing safety and a sense of enclosure without cutting off the breathtaking panorama of the Egyptian sky. The night was alive, yet tender. Sounds from nearby villages whispered through the darkness. Soft laughter, the distant bleating of goats, gentle calls between neighbors. The simple life of Egypt's many communities intertwined seamlessly with the larger cosmic rhythms, offering comfort and connection. Lighting during these hours was minimal and restrained. Oil lamps, made from clay bowls with a carefully trimmed wick, burned slowly and steadily, their light warm but never glaring. This gentle illumination coaxed sleep from busy minds and restful bodies alike, creating shadows that soothed the eye and invited calm. Through these well-worn rituals and peaceful rhythms, the Egyptians found balance, a harmony between the demands of the day and the deep need for rest, all unfolding under an eternal sky. Now, as our journey through the world of ancient Egyptian nights reaches its soft close, let us linger in this peaceful space a little longer. We've wandered through homes bathed in gentle lamplight, imagined hands tracing protective symbols, and heard whispered prayers sent to gods and ancestors alike. The ancients understood that night was more than just a time for rest. It was a sacred pause, a moment for the spirit to breathe, dreams to dance with the divine, and fears to be soothed by comforting hands and sacred images. Even in the humblest home, or beneath the grandest bed's shadow, sleep was a mirror reflecting hope, renewal, and gentle protection. As you prepare to close your own eyes, feel the tranquility of these ancient nights wrap softly around you. Let their timeless rhythms slow your breath and calm your heart. Imagine the cool desert breeze brushing your skin, the soft glow of a distant lamp, the quiet watch of Bes and Tawere guarding your dreams. Whether your rest is beneath the stars or in your own peaceful room, carry this calm with you. Know that sleep is a journey, both personal and universal, a sacred passage shared by all who have ever drifted into the world of dreams. Thank you for sharing this moment of gentle history, this quiet moment of connection across millennia. May your night be filled with comfort, and your dreams be bright with peace. Until we meet again in the quiet corners of time and story, may your nights be kind and your rest be deep.